Public Market Advisory Commission meeting. It is October 17th at 5:32. So we'll call the meeting to order. And Stephanie, could you do the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Bogue.
Here.
Commissioner Hardy.
Here.
And we know that Commissioner Nemeth is here and driving. So we are all present except for Peter. That's pretty good.
So the next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda for today, the October meeting, which you should have gotten. Does anybody have any additions to the agenda? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Yeah.
And a second?
Go ahead, Emma.
Okay, great. Everybody that approves the agenda, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Great. And that motion carries. Next thing on the list is the first public comment, agenda items only.
All right. I am not currently seeing any members of the public even in our meeting. So I would assume that is a no availability as of right now. Will of course be another opportunity later on.
Perfect. Thank you. So the next thing is the approval of the minutes from the September meeting, which you should have gotten. Does anybody have any changes to those minutes? All right. Can I get a motion to approve?
Approved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Everybody that approves, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Perfect. All right. So the minutes from the September meeting are approved. Moving right along, we're up to regular business items on the agenda. So general updates, Stephanie, whenever you're ready.
Yep. Cool. So make sure I'm opening the right document. All right. So it's been a busy bit of time at the market. We have been continually having conversations about these things, but I just wanted to update, obviously, for those of you that are in the know. Annual stall move up went well last month. It has been completed. We had 3 vendors move up and claim their annual status. We had a few vendors take an additional stall. We had a few vendors move. It was pretty uneventful. I think everyone got what they needed to get. So that is my only update about that. Vendor stall movement happened and it worked. So that's just that first one. I don't know if anyone had any questions about that. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to take notes at the same time. All right. Events. Back to our original conversation, Jeb. So we had our last food truck rally of the season last night. It was very well attended. We were a little bit iffy because of the slight cold yesterday, but I think the full moon and the comet and everything being out really brought people out and about. So it was still pretty well going on. I thought, when it got dark, it would be over, but no, it was successful. We had 13 total businesses with us. 8 of those were food trucks. 5 of them were pop-ups. Some of them were the usual suspects that we've had with us from time to time. We have a newer one joined for their second rally. That was a shawarma chef. They are out of Ypsilanti. We also continued to have a strong showing from fully plant-based businesses. We had 3 100% plant-based businesses. Our 4th had to cancel due to illness. But then we had other, vegetarian and vegan options available at a lot of our other places as well. Our newest regular vendor, who's our peanut butter vendor, Mitten Peanut Butter, they also have a waffle pop shack is what it's called. That was incredibly popular last night. It's basically a waffle on a stick where you can pick your toppings, including their handmade peanut butter. So, it was warm. People seemed to be gravitating towards that. But we had a lot of different options with us last night. Unfortunately, our music did cancel at the last moment. The singer, she lost her voice, so was not able to be with us. But we did at least have music lined up for this one, although it did not come to pass. And there was just other, logistical things that the taco truck wasn't able to start, so they were about an hour late. But other than that, it went pretty smoothly. Hello, Hannah. We were just talking about the food truck rally last night and all that good stuff. And through our experience, we've definitely talked about next year and how we're going to have sort of a cap on how many we will allow, because although there's unbridled enthusiasm for people to participate, we want to make sure everyone sells out or gets as close to that as possible. So we're thinking of maybe capping it at like 15 or 16, which last night as I said, we were at 13. It's a really good number for this time of year. But I think last rally, as we talked about last meeting, was really, really a lot, over 20 businesses with us. So we have learned that less is more. We've also talked about maybe doing different themes for each one next time, or, mixing it up in a different way. And then, of course, doing more to be able to compensate musicians so that we can get a better selection who would like to be with us. So I don't know if anyone has any questions, comments, anything to add.
Thanks for that update. If you have to choose people, if you have an abundance of vendors who come, how are you going to start developing criteria for doing that? I mean, I actually really like the theme idea.
Yes, I think part of it is that people that have a proven track record of being with us, people that apply, people that show up, people that are popular with our customers, I think those are all criteria. But of course, leaving that door open if there's somebody new that wants to try. I mean, Shawarma Chef, they contacted us midway through the season, and that's why they sort of added late. And the same thing with the Waffle Shack. Rachel from Mitten, she was like, hey, we have this other thing. Can we try it out? So that's become, something really great, and maybe something we're also going to see if they want to do in, colder market month on regular Saturdays too. But yes, we have not figured it out as of yet, but I think it would sort of look like that. And of course, too, the question becomes, do we have a set number for trucks, for carts? Because it's obviously a lot easier to have a lot more food carts and pop-ups than it is to add like 3 more food trucks, just because of volume of production capabilities. But yes, good question.
The pop-ups are also quieter too.
Yeah.
Right. Although they do potentially start other issues with, being shorting out the power and having us have to turn on switches and things like that.
Hopefully someday we can all dream about that being fixed.
All right. Anyone else? Questions, comments about the rallies? As I am writing notes. All right. But I will say it is pretty good to see the carts and trucks that come continually have a really big draw. We've seen like Vegano Italiano had a really big line last night. We saw, people always love Impasto. They're there a lot. The Hawaiian truck is one that was new this year, and that's been a huge hit. Craveable is another one that people really like. So it's been a great thing. And I should also mention too, It Kicks, who's another one of our regular market vendors. He is there too. He's one of our pop-ups. So there might be a criteria for like, if you're a market vendor but have some other thing you want to do, you're leaving an opportunity for that.
Great. Well, I'm glad it's been really successful. Is there anything coming up in the future for events? I know you guys have been super busy, but I just thought I'd ask.
We do have a Halloween market coming up on the Wednesday of Halloween week. So the day right before Halloween, we are going to be partnering with Give 365 again to have our candy stations that we've had in the past. And we're waiting to hear back if there's the volunteer capacity to run some of the lawn games there, or if we could have a pumpkin painting or put a sticker on a pumpkin, like the activities we've had in the past. So that we've sort of put together on the fly to make sure that we have at least something. And the backstory there is that Give, their supervisor, moved on to other opportunities. So they're sort of in between staffing at this time. So to not overburden them. And plus, the person filling in is about to go on maternity leave. So we're trying to just put it together and at least have a Halloween representation, although it's going to be probably pretty low key on the Wednesday before.
Great.
And then just in terms of other events, we've been having some live music on Saturdays. You know, we had the symphony back in September. We've had jazz. We have a saxophone quartet, which will be at Market this Saturday. And they are a professional chamber music ensemble that just reached out to us and said, hey, can we play at Market? And we said, yes, of course. So hopefully this will be their first of other times to attend. Because some of our bands that we had in the past are specifically Blue Chops Jazz. It was a really popular one. Most of them have graduated from U of M and gone on to other things. So we're at the point where we're looking for new music to fill the gap. But again, our continued desire is to be able to compensate musicians for their time. And then I think, just our other stuff that we have. The cooking demos have concluded for the year. Our last one was Indonesian tempeh with special guest Jaspreet from Zyka, who made a butter chicken, which is really butter tempeh recipe with the raw tempeh that was created. So that was a very good one. There's a lot of enthusiastic participants on that one. So who knows? We'll see what we come up with for next year's series. But this one was very good. And I should also mention, too, that Michigan Farmers Market Association did find some extra funding sort of midstream. So we were able to have that fully funded by MIFMA, that entire series, including compensation of $150 per demo for the person leading the demo, plus $50 to purchase produce and other products from market vendors to make the dishes.
That's great. It's been great to see local people so excited about it and participating in it.
Yes. And I don't know, Hannah, are there any other events that I'm not remembering now or updates we should give for programming?
I think the library may still be coming in October. They requested they were just going to do a summer thing, but they requested to come through the fall, which is awesome. And then we're looking to do more with them next year. But yeah, the food demos went really well this year. I think they were more engaging than they'd been in the past.
Yep. Cool. Thanks for that add on.
And sorry for my dog Chicory, but she just wanted to say hello.
For her, please. We love seeing it. We love to see her at the meeting. Any other comments, questions folks have about events? All right.
Next thing's the vendor updates.
Yes, vendor updates. So we continue to have vendor applications coming in. We just brought on a brand new vendor who had their first time out at the local food festival. It's called the Uncanny, I have an issue saying it, Uncanny Canning Company. His name is Colin. He is actually a PhD candidate in aerospace engineering, and this is his side project that he launched, and we were all very impressed with not just the quality of his jams, but also his packaging is fantastic. He also sources most of his fruit from the market and other local sources. So he just completed his orientation yesterday, So he will likely be starting next week. And we felt that he was a really good fit because of some shifting around. We have less jam than we have in the past. And of course, we always try to prioritize people that are sourcing from the market itself. And, it's a very close, it's a farm adjacent product, although not tied to a specific farm. So we are excited to welcome him. We have another few. We've gotten, I think it was like a dog treat business that has applied. We have not really assessed any of that yet because we're still being very cautious about people we bring on with our constraints with the market office trailer cutting into space, the uncertainties surrounding the office demolition, and what that means for like whether we'll have space temporarily or not in that area. We still are holding off, but there's maybe about 2 or 3 others that are still in the process of assessment. But we did bring on that brand new person just this week.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
The next thing on the agenda is the facilities and repairs.
All right, so we still are waiting for an awning to be attached to our market office trailer. They did come out and do initial measurements, assessment, and stuff like that, but we're still moving forward. Hopefully, that will be done before it's snowing on us when we will be trying to run tokens through the door. So that is something that is an improvement, I guess not really a repair per se. That's something that we are waiting on. Another thing, we have been working with the Throne folks because they have been putting in heaters into their space, and we just had to make sure, it didn't short our power source out and all sorts of items like this. We also had an inexplicable internet outage last Wednesday. It was very, very disruptive to market. What had happened was the radio transmitter was not sending the transmission from one side of the market to the other. So the upside is that we were able to plug in directly to the cable inside of the market, but that we had no internet in the office trailer for about 4 or 5 hours, I would say, last Wednesday. IT was on the case. They were trying to figure it out. And then as they were figuring it out, it apparently just miraculously turned itself back on. But in the process, they've come up with a backup system and a backup radio transmission because they were saying that they thought the radio itself was maybe faulty and that was what had happened, and they're figuring out a backup situation. But that was somewhat frustrating. And somewhat relatedly, we've been having a large amount of issues with our new terminals for token processing. Sorry, Hannah, to re-stress, to bring this back up. But yeah, what had happened was all the city people that use POS terminals throughout all the facilities and parks, at customer service at City Hall, all of us have received new terminals. And it's been an across-the-board issue that every single facility has been having. We seem to finally be on the resolved side of it, but it was multiple days and multiple weeks of calling the help desk at Chase, trying to navigate all of that, hoping that, it didn't just stop collecting payments. Because there was issues where if people tried to pay with tap, it would reject it, or, if you try to do mobile pay, it would only work if it was a credit card linked to your phone. Like, it was just a whole bunch of really messy, really frustrating things that have been impacting us, which probably a lot of people don't realize. It's behind the scenes going on. So we've been putting a lot of effort in trying to get that operational and repairing those systems when they go down. So we're hopeful that we are on the tail end of that and we've come out the right side, but that is something that we've been focusing on a lot. And in terms of out in the market, I know for the most part, unless it's like an extreme emergency, they're really wanting to hold off on any other repairs, especially in areas that might be dismantled anyway during the demolition. So that's my updates there. But hopefully that the issues with the POS systems are over, because that was hard because we physically had to move operations into the market, and then no one could find us. And then on Saturday, people then thought we were in that location, so it was a lot. So, but yes, any questions or comments about that?
So as it gets colder and colder, are you guys just going to still have the door open for people to buy tokens and things like that?
Probably.
Okay.
But I mean, it wouldn't really be any different than us having the window open in the old office. Although with the door, we can more easily close it, and then people can knock on the door, and then we can open it for them if we have to. But we do have heaters in there. So, but
I've
that's
been
all.
considering like a moving of how the space is oriented so that in the wintertime the door could be open and there's sort of a receiving area where people could get the tokens. It's really it's a bit hard to try to figure out how else things could be configured in there. But we are considering moving stuff in the trailers so that it's easier, especially in like January, February weather.
And also, even yesterday when it was cold in the morning, we had people like really early coming inside, just like
Yeah.
naturally walking inside of the building or building. So, and yeah, it makes it very crowded in there. So we will see how we can reconfigure, like Hannah was saying.
I was actually more worried about you all, that I don't want you all to get bronchitis because you've had to sit there with the door open for so long. So I didn't know if there was a window option or things like that. I also am thinking about as a customer, if I'm coming up and the door's shut, do I know to knock? Do I just that
We've had
signage
it in
potentially?
English and Mandarin, please knock for
Okay.
tokens on the door every time we close it. Unfortunately, we can't use the windows because there's bars
Oh,
over all of them. Otherwise, we would have been using a window already. So the door is really our option. Yeah.
Yep. And we still have to be outside also during the winter, so we are dressed very warmly. So we are equipped.
okay, thank you. So the next thing is the adjacent construction projects, 330 Detroit and 121 Catherine.
Yeah, so the good news is the Detroit Street one, they have windows in. They are very closed off space. So like a lot of the noise, a lot of disruption for that has been very minimal recently. That seems to have dissipated, especially because their underground parking is now open for people that are working, with the exception, obviously, of trucks that are too tall to go in there. The one thing I've definitely noticed about that is a few weeks ago, I was like, why is it so dark on that side of the market? The lights are on. What's going on? And so we've already noticed it's definitely blocking some of the natural light from that one side of the market. But who knows? Maybe that will change when the construction paper is taken down. I do not know. But it's definitely something that we have noticed, or I have noticed at least. But the upside is the difficulties working with them has not really been an issue recently, which is great. We love that. And the other side, 121 Catherine, still sporadic street blockages happening, still sporadic noise. But with them, their pace of construction seems to be very rapid. And they at least are very approachable and easy to work with in comparison. So, but as far as I have heard, they're going to be, working like this through the end of the year at least, and then we'll see how far they are next year. But again, having a 6-story building on that side, we'll definitely be cutting into some of the sandlot natural light eventually too. And Broncourt, we don't know what's going on. It seems like they demolished some of the old sidewalks so they could park construction vehicles back there. But I could find nothing anywhere within city documents that that project has been approved yet. So not sure, but there's definitely some like construction debris in that area. And I think that's all that I had, unless you had any other input, Hannah.
Nope.
Okay.
Your comment about the sunlight is interesting because that is a taller building across Detroit Street, and so when we ever get to the planning for what might happen with the canopy, that could be something interesting to add to the mix. Is canopy be constructed that also could let in some natural light to the market?
Yeah, well, the one across Detroit Street, that's a 5-story building, whereas the Catherine is going to be a 6-story, and the Brown Court area may be 7-story if it goes through. Although, it's not as close to the physical market aside from like the, parking lot areas.
Yeah.
So it's slightly different.
That'll also mostly just affect food truck rallies, probably, since, the way the sun moves across the market throughout the day. I think the stuff in the AM in the West is probably a lot, or the East is a lot more important. So the Detroit Street one, but
Right. It's also much closer, so we don't have as much leeway. And again, like when we use it, it's either for food trucks or it's for whenever we open the sandlot for stalls, which is only a couple months out of the year, so it's not going to be as big of a deal.
All righty. And then our favorite topic, the market office demolition and the renovation project.
Yes. Well, I don't really have any updates since the last time, other than Adam is now on paternity leave officially. So we need to wait until he returns to start the community engagement process. I know that the Observer is working on a story right now about it to give people some more information. They will be taking pictures on Saturday. They know they talked to vendors yesterday. I spoke with them, I think last week. I don't know, time's a blur after a food truck rally day. But that's, as far as I know, the demolition schedule is moving forward, which will begin in the winter time. And they have a parameter that it all needs to be completed by the time Wednesday market starts in May. But other than that, we're still pretty unknown about other elements of this project.
Do you know how long Adam's on paternity leave?
He gets 3 months.
3 months. And so he'd be back by the first of the year.
Yes. And he does have his assistant who is available for us to ask questions of, but in terms of like the full community engagement process, he really needs to be the one to lead it. He's got the expertise with that. But, if it's like ask a question to the people running the office trailer or the people we rented it from, we still have access in that way. It's just specifically for the moving forward in the community engagement.
Yeah, I just would love to know when the request for proposal is going to go out for that. So I'll be as patient as possible.
Well, just keep in mind that the first bid for this demolition was unsuccessful, so he had to redo that whole process for this to even be lined up. So that's part of the reason why things have been pushed back.
Yeah,
and then the paternity leave thing, I think, was not known in the beginning of this project either.
Yeah, well, hopefully the request for proposal to go out for somebody to help with community engagement can be a little smoother.
Well, we will see when he gets back. So I don't know if anyone has any other. Oh, so sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I was just going to ask the same thing. Anybody else have any other questions?
All right.
Okay, then we're on to new business, non-agenda items.
And this isn't exactly new business, but just wanted to make sure everybody is still on board with the 21st of next month being our in-person meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for checking.
And we are going to still, I'm not sure what Remy's schedule is, but I know that you all requested for him to be there. And that is still the tentative plan. But as I said, I do not know his exact schedule details.
Great. Thanks for checking on that with him. And the other thing I wanted to ask about, because I actually looked up my notes and it's been over a year since we passed the bylaws for PMAC onto the city. And so I really want to start lighting a fire under that. And I've had tons of people asking me about when we're going to expand PMAC.
So we had a meeting with legal again, maybe a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure the exact date, but it was Remy, Chris Frost, and I. And Chris is drawing up the ordinance change that needs to be passed before we're able to adopt our changes. Because I think there's things like the membership, things like the conflict of interest that needed a ordinance change first before being able to be voted on. So that's where we are. The last I heard is he's drawing up that ordinance revision right now.
Great. Well, that's nice to know that it's being talked about and moving along a little bit. So thank you. Anybody else? Any questions non-agenda related? Okay.
I guess I did want to just give another update. We did receive the rapid market assessment report, and that is something that we will be bringing to or giving you before, of course, but that's going to be something on our agenda for next meeting. We figured it'd be best to wait until that is in person to share all that information. But I can tell you it was very positive in the beginning, and that day they estimated almost 8,000 people that attended that particular Saturday market when they were there in July. So.
Great. Look forward to those results.
All right. So.
All right. If nobody else has any more new business, then we're on to our second public comment.
All right. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak? I see a hand. All right. Go ahead and unmute and let us know your name before you give your comment. Oh, you need to unmute. I can't do it for you. How's that? Okay, try to speak now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Oh, good. Hi, this is Debbie Marks.
Hello, Debbie.
Everybody knows. Hi, guys. I just want to thank you. I know sometimes it seems like not a lot is being accomplished at these meetings, but they always are. We're making baby steps all in the right direction. I really want to see the expanded PMAC. That's huge, and I'm glad that's going forward. And I just want to thank everybody again for their time. This is kind of a thankless job, but we really appreciate you. And Hannah, your doggie was the highlight of the meeting today. What a precious paw. Thank you for sharing. And thanks, you guys. I'll see you all at the market.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thanks, Debbie. All right. I think that brings us to the end of the meeting, unless there's anything else that's a burning desire for anybody to say anything.
She was very excited about the rapid market assessment, so that will be great. She loves surveys and data.
Good. We're looking forward to learning about it. So.
Great.
All righty. Well, with that, it is 6:07 and we will adjourn this meeting.
Sounds good. Hope you feel better, Jeb.